Hi guys, welcome to our new video. So today's topic is abstract class, which is a part of abstraction concept in the Java. So it is like a super class. So abstract class is basically a class which we cannot instantiate. So it is basically a concept in Java. We cannot. These are the classes for which we cannot create the objects. Okay, so it contains mostly the common characteristics of subclasses. Okay, and then these sub characteristics then these subclasses implement these characteristics. By characteristics, mostly we mean to say the methods. So these are not defined in the abstract class, or you can say as it is a super class. So we used to define into the child classes. So that is what the concept of abstract class. So it is a simple concept. These are the some you can say the classes for which we cannot create the object, and they are having some methods which are not implemented, which can be implemented into the child classes. So in short, it is a concept like this, and it is basically a simple concept. And how we declare, we used to use the keyword called abstract before the class name. Before the class declaration, you use the keyword called abstract. Okay, then we will be extending these classes into the child classes. Okay, extend C. So D is a child class of C here. Okay, and C is our super class. So it is abstract. So that is what that is why we have written as a super class also. Okay, so it is mostly a super class, or you can say always a super class. Or similar to other classes, it may contain the data members, it may contain the methods, it may contain the abstract methods, it may contain the main methods, it may contain the constructors. So it is similar to other classes, but we do not use to instantiate or create the object of these classes, in short. Why we do not do this, we will discuss it. So in this we are having a class called bank. Okay, so it is, we have made this an abstract class, and in this we are having two things like PPF interest and loan interest. Okay, or you can say house loan interest, something like this. Okay, so it is right now containing an abstract method. By abstract method, what do you mean to say? The method which we doesn't define or declare it by the semicolons. Okay, so it may contain the abstract methods or the normal methods like int, loan int. So it is a normal method, it is an abstract method. We can also write some variable into this, something like this. Okay, so it is also allowed. So these are the things which are allowed into the abstract class. So it is a normal class. Some methods are defined, so these are normal methods. Some methods are not defined, so we have declared it as abstract methods. Okay, then we will be having the subclass or the child class, which is extending bank. Then we will be having PPF interest method, which we have taken from bank. Okay, here. So we will be defining or overriding these methods here into the ICICI class, ICICI bank class. Okay, so by defining, what do you say, it will be 8% of interest for the PPF will be given to the people of ICICI. Okay, so what basically the concept here is, we are having a bank. Okay, So for bank we do not need to instantiate or create the object, because it is just defining something like get in PPF interest for the banks or loan interest for the banks. So here we have make the loan interest, or you can say house loan interest here as 9%. Okay, so it is common for all the banks, so we have defined it something like this. But if we do not want to define something like PPF interest, so there are various banks which can take their own rule for the interest. It might be 8%, it might be 9%, so something like this. So like ICICI is giving the return of 8% here, so we are overriding this method. Okay, so we have not defined or created the body of this method here, so we have defined it here. Okay, so that is what the concept of abstract class is. So some methods or things are not unimplemented here into the parent class, then these classes are these things are implemented into the child class. Okay, so these are this is basically the concept of abstract class. Okay, so we do not actually need to create the object of this here. Okay, so we like in main here we are having bank B is equal to new SBI, so we are creating the object of SBI here. Okay, but not of the bank here. You can take it the another bank also as SBI. Okay, so we can mention it as ICICI. Okay, okay, so we are creating the object of ICICI, that is child class here, but not the bank. Okay, so we are referring to the bank here but not creating the object of ICI bank. Okay, we are creating the object here of ICICI, but we are referring here to the bank. Okay, so because bank is a super class, so we can do that. Okay, so this is also the another concept into this. We will discuss it into this lecture on also. So what we have learned till now is like bank class is having some methods called PPF interest or the house loan interest, etc., or something like this. So these are common things which all the banks used to do, like ICICI bank or HDFC or SBI bank. Okay, so these common methods can be reused by these banks. Okay, so we do not need something like to create the object of a bank class. Okay, and we have defined the methods called PPF interest and house interest for so that the other banks can take these methods, because these are the methods which can be taken by the ICICI, HDFC and SBI. So these all banks used to give the PPF interest, these all banks used to give the house loan interest. So we have just defined the thing, whatever will be the functionality of our bank, so they will have to give the PPF, they will have to give the house loans. So the in the bank class we are only defining the things what our system does, what the bank does. Okay, but not not defining it because bank used to define it as per their own interest rate. Okay, so that's why we have we are not creating the object of like this bank class, because it is an abstract class. So it is conceptually there is no mean to say like we will create the object of this class, because we are not defining the method in this class. Okay, so we are not completely defining all the methods in this class. So that is why we have created we have just declared these methods into the our bank class, so that we should know the concept what we are doing into our code. So after that, ICICI and HDFC or SBI bank will charge the interest as per their own rules and regulations, something like this. So we will so ICICI bank will create the object and mention it how much interest it will give for the PPF. HDFC will also define their own interest rate. SBI will also define their own interest rates. So something like this will go on. Or we can also understand this by another example, something like this. Like we are having a class called shape, which can be having the area parameter. So the shape class is an abstract class, because we do not need this class to create the object, because it is only declaring whether what will be the shapes are having. What will be the shapes are having? Shapes are having the areas, shapes are having the parameters. What do you mean by shapes? Shapes can be rectangle, shapes can be square, or shape can be circle. So these all shapes are having area or parameters. So we have just defined that shape class, class will be shapes will be having area or parameter. So we will declare this class as an abstract class. Then we will create the object of these subclasses of shape class, like square, rectangle, then circle. So like square will mention its area as a square or something like this. A rectangle will mention its area as L into B, so something like this. So at that time they will create their own the object of their classes of a rectangle or square, something like this. But for our parent class, for our super class shape, we do not need to instantiate this shape class, because we are not doing anything into it. We are only just mentioning that whatever system will do, it will give the area or it will give the parameter, something like this. So like as per above example, we do not need the bank. Like for this above example I have discussed here in short, there was a summary. So we do not need the bank object here conceptually, as it is wrong, because we may inherit the bank method and data members in SBI or ICICI, because we are inheriting the methods which we have declared, or data member which we have declared into the child classes. So child class can access the common methods like PPF interest for their functioning. Okay, so for their functioning they are using the methods which we have declared into our common class called, or the parent class called bank. So we do not need to instantiate bank here, because it is only helping them for their functioning. And we will define these PPF interest or home loan interest into these sub classes, that is our ICI bank or sub classes bank. So they will accordingly implement their own interest rate by creating the object. So that is where we used to create the object, but not for the bank. So I hope you will understand till now about this concept. So one more thing I have discussed, like in our above example, like we have created the object of ICICI, and we have not mentioned here as ICICI. We can mention here as ICICI also, but we are mentioning here as bank B. So this is another rule. We can say that we can mention the superclass for the child. We can create the reference variable of abstract class, but not the object, because superclass reference variable. So it is allowed into the Java to create the reference variable of abstract class, like B here is a reference variable, ICICI is an object here. So we can refer to we can mention it as a reference variable, but we cannot write it as something like bank, or we cannot create as some the object of bank here. So if we are creating the object of child here, we may refer to the bank class. Okay, so which is our abstract class, we may refer to the abstract class which is our bank class. Okay, so we can create the reference variable of abstract class but not the object. Okay, like we have already discussed this kind of thing in the above example. We have again discussing it, like we are having an abstract class here, then we will be extending it as from a class, a child class B. So B class B extending the A, then we will be having some class called C which is not extending anything. Then we will be having public static void main. So here A reference variable new is equal to this. So it is correct. Why it is correct? Because here we are not creating the object of A, we are creating the object of B. Okay, which is a child class. Okay, and it is referring to A. So as per rule we can create the reference variable of abstract class. So our abstract class is A here, so we can create the reference variable of abstract class here. Okay, so it is correct because superclass reference variable is allowed to take the child class object, that is B. And if we write it as something like this, here we are creating the object of A which is an abstract class, so it is incorrect, as we have we can't instantiate the class A, or we are not allowed to create the object of abstract class A. Okay, so that's it for today, and I hope you will understand this concept here. And also we will discussing this concept in brief for abstract methods in our later lectures. It might be our next lecture, so it will clear out your concept for the abstraction a bit more. And if you like this video, please click on thumb button, and please share this video with your friends, and please press on bell icon and click on subscribe button to keep updated about our new videos. Thank you so much.